Today on Doubling Down, we are locking down a double that has serious potential payout. And last week, one of our viewers hit the $91 daily double. We're going to hear from them, and I have a special guest this week. We don't have to listen to Vinny for once. That's right, there he is. So happy to welcome back from Trust the Profits, Sean Patrick Nolan. Sean, how we doing?
Hey, buddy, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
I'm good as always. Thanks for filling in. It's been a crazy week for me, so I wasn't able to tape at our normal time with Vinny. As you probably heard there in the open, Sean, we had a big winner last week on Doubling
Yes,
Down.
you
It was a
did.
tough double to get to. And if you see there on the leaderboard, it was J-Worm who won the horse tourney credit from last month. So he has been absolutely on fire. I wanted to
Way
reach
to
out
go,
to him.
J-Worm.
Absolutely. I wanted to reach out to him and get his thoughts on what he saw. And he said, first of all, I love your show and your contest format. I'm a big fan. For race 9, Nation was actually my third choice, but I loved his last race at Keeneland where he won. His speed numbers were impressive in that win, and at the same distance, he looked to be in very good form. He then came back in race 10, and Double Your Money was his third pick, but he went 3 by 3, so on a $9 ticket, he hit for $91. Similar to Nation, his last race was an impressive win at Aqueduct with a huge late pace rating of 116. So shout out to J-Worm. Really well done in a tricky double that only you
Yeah,
were able to pull together.
amazing.
What we're big fans of here on Trust the Profits is hearing from our fans, Sean. So we're going to try and spotlight that each week if we can get someone that
Oh, I
hits a big
love it.
ticket.
Love it.
From being in the lounge, any big winners this week? How'd we do up at Woodbine?
A little bit on the struggle bus this week. We were all around it. We had the right horses. We had the right church, wrong pew. Exactly. So we were all around it. We just didn't have the right combinations on top. But always the winter at Woodbine in November is always a challenge.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we can put that challenge to the test here as we go to Fairgrounds for the first time
Yes.
in quite a while, looking at race 8 and race 9. Before we do that, be sure to swing over to doublingdown.glide.page. You can play in the free
Yes.
tourney with us. That is what J-Worm is built up a nice lead on. Shoddy's there with $55. Our artist David Barista, who's been playing really well, is 26. It's free to play and we give away prizes every month. So what more could you ask for? Dive on in and it's fun. You might get a shout out on Doubling Down.
Yeah.
2025 results, Sean. I'm hovering over the even line. I'm up at $1.40. Me and Vinny have
There
made it
you
a
go.
goal to finish
Profit.
2025 in the profit. So Vinny's got some work to do. He's down $10. We have his ticket for everybody. So don't fret just because Vinny's not here. We will
Right.
still get
Still
that
with us.
for you. Plenty of, all it takes is one, as they say in the lounge.
That's right. Amen.
So here we go. Let's take a look at race number 8, November 22nd, Saturday, November 22nd, up at the Fairgrounds. Race number 8. Another big field, Sean. You actually found a single in here and agreed with me that I think the second leg is where we're going to have some trouble trying to possibly find that
Yes,
winner,
definitely.
as it's a tricky one. So they're going allowance optional claiming. It's a mile on the turf for 3-year-olds and up. Race 8. Where'd you land?
I landed on the 4 Pegaso with Martin Pedroza Jr. and Turner 5-1. I really kind of looked at this race and you have to be very impressed. The 1 Calico at Fairgrounds 6 starts, 4 wins, 1 second, very impressive. The 2 Titanium Deal since going on the turf has got some huge buyers. But here's my thing why I went for Pegaso here. You look at the 1 massive speed. The 2, massive speed. 11, massive speed. There's a lot of early speed in this race, right? And when you look at the 4 has run some very good races. Has never run at Fairgrounds. But what I love is look at you got Dominguez, Vargas, Pena. Now you get Marcelino Pedroza Jr. That's a huge jockey upgrade, for this race here at Fairgrounds. So I think with all the early speed and the thing, I had to make a decision. Does the 1 knock out the 2? Does the 2 knock out the 1? Does the 11 knock out both? Right. So I either had to say you either went 5 deep or you just took a shot. and I took a shot with the 4 because I think there's going to be so much speed, and you have a very solid upgrade for jockey in Marcelino Pedrosa. I think he can just run them all down.
That's what my strategy was last week. I just took a stand and went single after a scratch. I wasn't right, but my ticket didn't cost me a lot. But I had that kind of same mentality going in to the race that was similar to this last week, where you have so many possible opinions that if you have
Yeah.
one that you like on top, why not take a shot and try to get through with that first leg, especially when the second leg is just as tough. So we'd love to
Yeah.
hear from you out there in YouTube world. Throw down in the comments who you like here in leg 1.
Yes,
I
definitely.
agree with you, Sean, on number 4, Pegaso. I like the fact that this horse is switching dirt to turf, which is something that the trainer is actually pretty good at. Patty Turner has some positive numbers there, including a positive 181 ROI when it's third off of the layoff over the last 3 years. So there's some interest there for me. You talked about the 4. I originally was 3 deep. I originally liked this number 11, Wayside Drive.
Yeah.
This was a horse who is 1 for 2 on the Fairgrounds turf, 2 for 3 at the distance. James Graham is aboard. And you have what me and Vinny always love to talk about. We'll give you the drop, is the increasing speed figures that you see here going 58, 86, 86, 90. And a horse that,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, is another one that's part of that early speed on the way outside, of course.
Yeah.
One thing that ended up scaring me away was actually this stat here on James Graham. We'll zoom in there for you. So James Graham over the past year, turf routes, 105 starts, only 3 wins.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not his specialty.
That's a
Yeah.
3% win percentage and a negative 64% ROI. Now, Sean, when this horse was originally on my ticket, do you know who one of those horses that James Graham won on going turf route?
Who's
Wayside
that?
Drive.
Yeah,
It was
where's that
it was
drive?
this horse. It was this horse. So he's had
Yeah.
3 wins,
Yeah.
and there you go, right there on March 12th. It was
Yeah.
a maiden claimer going for 50,000.
Yeah.
Uh,
And open
eventually,
company. Yeah.
so eventually, though, I had to make the cut because when I got to that next leg, and I just had too many horses that I couldn't decide on. Ultimately, I said, let's take a shot that James Graham is going to continue that pretty awful turf road streak
Yeah.
here. So I included the 4, but I also included the number 2, Titanium
Yeah.
Deal. Since moving to the turf, Sean, this horse has
Oh,
suddenly kind of changed his strategy, being able to be more on the front end, and the speed
yeah.
figures have really stepped up as well. I mean, you're looking at prior to on the dirt, 60, 71, 31. They moved this horse to the turf, going 7.5 furlongs at Evangeline. You get an
Whoa.
89, a 93, a 98, and suddenly you're
Going
seeing
up,
this
up,
horse
up.
on the front
Yep.
end, right?
Yep.
So Titanium Deal for me at 6-1. I'm going to try and get through the leg with the number 2 and the number 4. And hopefully that's all I need. Any other thoughts you had, or you think we're good? I hope we at least can both get through it.
Yeah, no, I like your picks. I mean, obviously the one that's going to be the watching is the one Calicoco, who's 4 for 6 at Fairgrounds. Now he's the buyers are only up to 91 for that horse, but is a horse, of course, that loves speed and loves to be on the front. That's why when I was kind of studying this, I said, could the 1, the 2, the 11, could they all cancel each other out? You know what I'm saying? In terms of because as you said, the 11s. Buyers were going up. The 2's buyers were going up. The 1's got 91. I mean, he's like in that ballpark. He has to step it up a little bit, but is a speed another speed type? And obviously that by using Isaac Casillo, he's a rider who loves to be on the lead. So you have a lot of horses in here. That's why I singled the 4, taking a chance with the upgrade of the jockey because you could have a real tussle in here for that lead.
Yeah, the reason I was against the 1 was this date right here, the last race. Hasn't raced since April 30th, and I'm usually not a big fan of horses at
Right.
this level coming off of some long layoffs. Doesn't mean the horse can't win, of course. Doesn't mean can't get out and go wire to wire, but hopefully some of that other early speed. cause a
I will
submission,
say
just not the
this.
two.
I will say this, and this is an interesting point. I've said this all the time when we would do Louisiana at. There are some horses in Louisiana that love one course and hate the other one. So like
Mm.
you could run an Evangeline, you could run a 101, and then go to Louisiana and run an 84, and then go to the Fairgrounds and run a 96, and then go to the next one and run a 72 because you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting to see how that Evangeline um, form will transfer over to the Fairgrounds form. At least you know with the one, he's 4 for 6 at Fairgrounds. Yet he likes the track. But if the two, as you said, if the two brings that form over to there, he's going to be very tough.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the one has been working pretty nicely at Fairgrounds. So there's the possibility of they know he likes Fairgrounds better. So after
Kind of like the horse
Evangeline
for
wraps
course
up, just give
angle.
him a break.
Yeah.
Let's get Vinny's thoughts. Here's what Vinny thought. Race 8, he likes the number 2 with the back-to-back wins, increasing figures over the last few. Should be right there on the early pace. And the number 7 on the class drop, he feels that that horse has tactical speed and is 5 for 9 in the money at the distance. We're going to take a quick timeout here on Nesson Nation, but stay tuned on Trust the Profits as we turn our attention to race number 2. All right, we're back here for the second leg of our daily double for Saturday, November 22nd at the Fairgrounds. Sean, I love saying at the Fairgrounds because I know the calendar is going to be turning towards January. We're going to be talking about Lecomte soon.
Yes, can't wait.
It's amazing how quick it passes by.
Yeah, we're back. We're back at Tampa. We're back at Fairgrounds. It's that time of year again.
So leg 2, Sean, for me was a real head scratcher.
Yes.
I had my picks last night when I went through it. And then about an hour before we started taping, I wanted to go through them again. And suddenly I changed my picks, I think 3 or 4, maybe even 5 times. And ultimately kind of landed back on 2 of the original horses that I liked. Now I told you some of my betting strategy in the first leg was taking off that 11 so that I could afford myself to add one more horse here in this leg. So hopefully that ends up being the right strategy. Here's your field. It's a field of 11. And your favorite is the number 8 at 7-2, All Night Moonlight, who I wasn't really a fan of. I was actually more intrigued by the 6 over the 8 at 8-1. Who'd you end up using on your ticket?
To quote my good friend Dave Weaver from FanDuel, right? For the 8, chuck them out. I'm not even using them in this race.
I'm not either.
No, I just think this one's an overbet. The Loveberry and Brew have always been a good combination, but I just think there's other horses in here that are better than them.
I thought his turf races were better than the dirt races, so that's kind of what I had written down as in such a competitive race.
Same thing.
Yeah, where did you end up going?
Well, I went 4 deep here. I went the 4, Behemoth Star with Paco, and the 5, Sipping on Gin with the Axel Concepcion for Calhoun. The 10, He's Late Again, Timmy Thornton for Landry, 6-1. And Hey Jude, Ben Curtis, Tommy Amos, 5-1.
I love the name of the 11, Hey Jude. That's such a great
isn't that awesome? The Hey, I love that. Exactly.
Like I said, I went multiple ways. Ultimately, the first 2 horses on my ticket were the 5 and the 7. When I went back and kind of, as I said, went through this a second time and ended up cutting that 11, I determined, Sean, that in this state-bred race, I kind of wanted to lean a little bit on some of these horses that have been running against open company. And I get the Thorograph. Thorograph sends out a free race every week, and they actually picked this race. And I went and looked through those figures. And the number 3, Let Mike Figure It Out, was one that I ultimately came back and decided that I wanted to have on my ticket.
Okay.
This was a horse who, excuse me, has a win at the Fairgrounds, which was immediately attractive to me. Hasn't topped out on Thorograph yet. He got a 4 last time out, and that was against open company. So that
Yeah,
4 at Evangeline Downs going a mile and a 16th. It was off in an off track, but the Equibase speed figure was just as good. 104
sure.
fits
Yeah,
him right in with the rest of the company. The number 6 has a 108. That was highest out of all the horses, and then your number 4 had a 106. So if this
yeah.
horse, who is a 4-year-old, going into the later months of the fall, can improve one more step, I think he's absolutely in the mix. And at 8-1, and when my dad's name is Mike, how
See,
could I not throw that horse on
how
my
could you not
ticket?
conclude him? If we were in the lounge right now, you get the horn big time. But this is the doubling down, so we allow that.
That's right. That's right. I can do what I want on my show.
Right, at your show, exactly. No horn. Exactly.
Um, who would you like to talk about?
Yeah. Okay. So my first pick here was the 5 sipping on gin. Axel Concepcion for Brett Calhoun. I really like this horse. Axel has great success with this horse at Fairgrounds. I think that's really key. You look last year, Axel finished third, flying, closing the debut, first, second. And then at Ellis Park versus Duke of Duval, who's a very good horse, at Ellis Park just misses barely versus Duke of Duval. I mean, what would Duke of Duval be in this race? You know what I'm saying? So, and he just misses him, in this race. So I think this horse is, and Brett's so good. I mean, he's a Louisiana boy at heart. You know what I'm saying? And he does so well down here. As his horses training great. I love the workouts. 14 of 73, 6 of 35, 3 of 18. Just all solid work. She doesn't go. Brett's never been one to be like a flashy one, but these are all solid works. And he gets the Axeman back up. The horse is 4 of 4 in the money at Fairgrounds. I just think this horse is just, to me, the most solid base out of any of them in this field.
Yeah, and you're watching his last race here, the number 5 in that second place finish that you had just referenced.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was one I had gone back and forth on. Really, my concern was the speed figures. If I come relying on Equibase speed figures, and this horse is running in the mid 90s, but the horse is a 3-year-old, so that left me the thought that he could certainly improve again. And as I mentioned, that last race was against Open Company, and allowance 102K. I think that last race was really impressive.
And then what I like there too is, as you say, the speed figures. He's gone from he has run a 95 at the Fairgrounds, which I think again, and I'll say this to the viewers out there again, just because you run a 95, sometimes our friends down in the southern part of Louisiana, their buyers seem to be very high, like Evangeline and like that stuff. That doesn't mean it's going to translate to Fairgrounds. You know what I'm saying? So I try to look at the horses that have actually done it on this track. You know what I'm saying? And he ran a very nice 95 buyer with Axel at a mile and 16th in the one city. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I would almost like a 95 on this track versus 101 in Evangeline. You know what I'm saying? Because I know this horse can run a solid race on this track. Now, obviously, just like the previous race before, if these horses run like their buyers on those tracks, they'll be very tough. But they're different tracks. So I kind of gravitate to the horses that have done it on this track. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where I had the difference there for the 5.
Me too. That's ultimately what decided me to add him.
Yeah.
4 for 4 in the money at Fairgrounds,
Yeah.
6 for 6 lifetime in the money, 3 for 3 wins at Fairgrounds. Those were all numbers that kind of stood out to me, which ultimately left the number 5 on my ticket. The number 7, Sean, is Cosmic Train, and this is something that I'm always cognizant of. It's horses that kind of followed the same path the previous year to win a race that they are suddenly in a year again later. And here you have the Cosmic Train closing like a bat out of hell last year, November 23rd, to win this exact race. His race previous to that was August 31st. Look at this year. Last race, August 9th, finishing second at Evangeline Downs, getting a 100. The last 3 out of the 4 races, as Vinny put in his notes, triple digit Equibase speed figures, 100, 104, 100. Um, the layoff here doesn't concern me because he did it last year.
Yeah,
So the number 7 Cosmic Train for me at 8-1 will also be on my ticket.
extreme value, extreme value. The
Yeah,
only thing is that at that time last year, Jose Ortiz could have been on an elephant and he still would have come in like third the way
that's
he
true.
was riding when he won. So,
That's true. Very good point by you. So I go 357. You go. Who else would you like to talk about?
yeah, okay, so this is interesting. So I had a couple of horses that I can just quickly touch on here. The four, Behemoth Star, again, is the star guitar. You get Paco Lopez, 15 starts at Fairgrounds, 6 wins, 6 seconds, and 2/3. So this horse knows how to get over Fairgrounds. And it had a couple of even had a 106 buyer on the Fairgrounds track, and he picks up Paco, which I think is a huge switch from Guerrero and Mitchell Merle to get Paco. You know what I'm saying? So I think right alone with the buyer figures in the Informer. And again, here's a horse that maybe just doesn't like Louisiana Downs, doesn't like Evangeline. Maybe he comes back to Fairgrounds where he's had success and comfort, you know what I'm saying, and pulls a big one, and pulls a big effort. And for the trainer to go to Paco, it shows, I think, a real willingness to run a good race. So I thought at 12-1, he was definitely worth just a shot to be thrown in there. The 10, he's late again. Timothy Thornton and Alan Landry. Look at this horse. And again, now here's a thing. Came in fifth last time. That was in the Super Derby at Louisiana, $250,000 race. I'm going to chuck that one for him. It was just too tough,
Hmm.
of that group, that open company. But look at this horse at Fairgrounds, second in the Country City to Sipping on Gin, and second in the to Sipping on Gin, fifth to him. But he has run well at Fairgrounds. He's first in the second in 3 starts, so he definitely does have a chance. Timothy Thornton, who's always been Mr. Louisiana, exactly, is no stranger to the Fairgrounds winner circle and stakes races. So I thought that horse had a real chance in here. And then our favorite named one, Hey Jude, on the outside. Ben Curtis, who I think is one of the most underrated jockeys in the nation. He just rides good races. And you look at this horse again, has run at Fairgrounds first, second, third. But I do like the fact that he got a nice 93 buyer at Delta Downs. Again, another different track. But I just love the way he came back. It was he was really going away at the end. And as you said, sometimes when you can go from 2 to 3, it's amazing what difference a horse can be. The horse had a break from March to October and just came back flying down the stretch. Now that's Delta Downs. This isn't Fairgrounds, but it was impressive. He gets Ben Curtis instead of Vincente Del Cid, which means Tommy Amos is Maggie Moss is the owner. That means Tommy's trying. So I thought at 5-1, that's definitely worth a throw in.
I love it. My concern on Hey Jude was the distance. I see
Yeah,
the
yeah,
success was really at the 5 and the 6 furlongs. Tried
yeah.
second at 7 furlongs, but then went a mile and 70 at Fairgrounds and finished 18 lengths behind Sippin' on Gin. Went at a mile and 16th. Once again, was behind Sippin' on Gin. So for me, I wrote down the
The,
question mark being
yeah.
the
The one
distance.
thing I did like about that race at Fairgrounds, so if you read the comments, I actually watched the race. Checked stretch. He was absolutely he was flying down the stretch. And then he got absolutely checked like terribly. And then and still came in fourth. But he was absolutely just flying down the stretch and he got checked really sharply. See if we can find him here. You'll see him, he gets really checked. He's almost looks like he's gonna win the race. And then all of a sudden, let's see if we can find him here. But he still gets up for fourth.
So he's the
He was checked
11. Must have
sharply,
happened prior to that.
Yeah. So So exactly. So if he has any, if he has any ability in this race, he'll definitely have a real chance.
I love it. So here's our tickets. I'm going to go
Yep.
2-4 with the 3-5-7. It'll cost you $6. Sean's going to go 4 with the 4-5-10 and 11. We both have a chance to win if it comes 4-5, which is
Yep.
what we always love to have.
Absolutely.
We always like to give us each a chance. Sean, you survived another episode of Doubling Down. Thank you, my friend, for joining me. Vinny will be
Always
back
a pleasure.
next week. For everyone else, don't forget to get into doublingdown.glide.page. Play along with us. Throw in the comments what you think of our doubles and also what you like for your double. Until next time, I'm Colin. He's Sean. Take care, everybody.
See you guys.